Cart's hold. Right, go for it. Let's go.
I'm live. I pushed the button. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show. Or just a wee technical issue there. So, last week we spoke about talking yourself to health and wealth and happiness, and it branched us out onto talking about a sense of purpose and how to find and finding a sense of purpose and things as well. So that has given us today's topic to discuss, and that's finding your sense of purpose in life. And how important is that, Jim? And people will be asking, well, what is a sense of purpose? Why do I need a sense of purpose?
This is a huge subject.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the reason why this is a huge subject? Because people have lost their way. This is the biggest pandemic coming. If you're going to talk about a pandemic, this is the biggest pandemic coming. And it's the pandemic of connection. Why people do no longer have a purpose in life. And the very fact that you don't have a purpose in life suggests that there's no connection with anybody else because you've not got any impetus to do anything else with anybody else as a result of that. Therefore, this is what leads to things like, dare I say it, because it's like, I'm going straight to this. This is what leads to drug addiction, alcoholism, the gambling addiction, all these different things. And it also leads to ill health as well. So everything about finding your sense of purpose in life has a universal effect on you overall. And a lot of people just don't realize that. They go through all the way throughout life, wondering why life isn't happening, wonder why life is happening to them rather than why life should be happening for them. That's the key. Why on earth would you spend all your life in the shade if literally just over there is the sun? But most people do that. They spend their whole life sitting in the shade with no idea that a couple of meters from them is the sunshine. But they're happy to do that, maybe because it drives their whole sense of self-worth and the fact that they're just not good enough. Here.
That's people's mindset. And I think, and it's true what you say, and I think it would be a fair assumption to make that people that don't have a sense of purpose or feel maybe a wee bit of doubt in their cell and what they do and who they are, then do go down different paths to fill that void, and that ultimately leads with drugs and alcohol and depression and, a lot of things, and anxiety that take over. A lot of what we spoke about last week as well.
I take great inspiration by things, and if you've not watched the Lamborghini film yet, about Ferruccio Lamborghini and the famous head-to-head he had with Ferrari. So it's all about Lamborghini and how Ferruccio Lamborghini, who actually ended up building tractors, and then he went to Ferrari's door one day, Enzo Ferrari's door, knocked on his door and said, I've got 7 of your cars, one for every day of the week. And genuinely he did. And then he said to him, basically that what I love about your cars is the fact that, I love them because of that. And Ferruccio and Enzo Ferrari went, yeah, okay, you've got 7 of my cars. Fantastic. Now beat it, Sonny. Almost like that. And then he said, the only problem is your clutch is terrible, diabolical. So I've got a solution for this. Maybe we should go into partnership. And basically, Enzo Ferrari basically dismissed him and went, get away from me, laddie. I'm getting in my car or I'll call the police. More than something like that. Just get away from a scumbag. And as a result, Ferruccio Lamborghini's sense of purpose came into full fruition in the fact that I am going to make a better car than what you've ever made in your life. And that's how Lamborghini came about. That's how the cars came about, because he manufactured tractors, and he was so successful at it, being the most efficient tractor, that he then pivoted into cars. And the whole story, it's interesting because his dad said to him when he was younger, he said, a man who isn't in debt has no reason to work. It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I don't mean in terms of monetary debt, because that can be one of the things, but it can be in debt in terms of your obligation to other people. So that sort of debt, the debt you've got to someone else to help them. I mean, if you have children, for example, we talked about this at the weekend, how you feel you have to help them, your children, because you're the ones that had them. So you're compelled to actually work to help your children. So this is, and then that ultimately gives you a sense of purpose, doesn't it?
That's your sense of purpose, yeah.
It's a sense of purpose, definitely. Other things as well is great inspiration. The things that I picked out of this. This is actually quite good. if we fail seeking in the search for greatness. So fail away.
Yeah.
I don't mean that literally, Richard.
No, but at least no. At least if you fail, you were on the path to seeking greatness. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing. So that you buy a Ferrari because you want to be someone, but you buy a Lamborghini when you are someone.
Uh-huh.
And he
Yeah.
actually said that. He actually wrote that in a wee bit of paper, and he said it at the Geneva show. He actually said it right in front of Enzo Ferrari. You buy a Ferrari when you want to be someone, but you buy a Lamborghini when you are someone. That is a really good one, isn't it? So I
Yeah.
love these sort of things, these inspirational stories that help you along on your journey. And it is all about finding a sense of purpose, for most people. If you don't have purpose in life of any shape or form, then you'll probably do nothing. And then this is what happens, everything else takes over as a result of that. So a sense of purpose and control can make you feel like what you do is worthwhile,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a real sense of purpose in the world. And studies show that, guess what? You tend to live longer.
Yeah, the interesting thing you say about we spoke about children and things and them giving you a sense of purpose, and we spoke about that the weekend. We also spoke about getting to a point where your body gets to a point in life where it's like, okay, you've done what you need to do, and then it starts to decline, and that's how you end up. Do you know what I mean? How to change that, and then that all comes back to mindset and things as
Your
well.
body, your body is designed to kill you off when you get past a certain phase. And what I mean is, ultimately, we're locusts on this earth, if you want to put it in that basic form.
Yeah.
So we're basically ravaging the earth and we're an infestation to the earth. That's how I see it. And as a result, we're here to procreate. So we procreate, and then what happens? Your body works on, after your procreation cycle's finished, it works on ways to kill you off. Now, that's not my way of thinking. That's actually scientific fact. Hence the reason why you have the things like the menopause and you go to all the osteoporosis and all these different things that happen as a result. It's your body trying to kill you off because you're no longer needed.
Yeah, which is quite a stark reality, but that's
So we have to learn how to live longer, and we have to have a sense of purpose in order to do that throughout life. So definitely, it's all about longevity, and it's all about people that live longer as a result and live more content lives.
not happy.
No, see that. Well, the live happy is a byproduct of being
Yeah,
content.
but that's what we spoke about last week as well.
I'll
Yeah.
guarantee you, someone who is content every single day with their life, and that is their goal, will be much happier than someone whose goal is happier.
Yeah.
Work that one out.
I
Because
think.
you're more likely to reach contentness every single day, because contentness isn't as such a high hurdle to get to. Therefore, you won't be disappointed as much as you would be trying to achieve happiness. And
Yeah.
because you can't achieve happiness in life so often than being content, therefore you'll be disappointed with the results more. Therefore, you'll feel worse as a result. So you don't need to be. It's not. This isn't the pursuit of happiness. This isn't the Will Smith film, The Pursuit of Happiness. This isn't what this is about. This isn't the book of The Pursuit of
Yeah.
Happiness. But if you watch The Pursuit of Happiness and you read the book of Pursuit of Happiness, the ultimate goal was contentment.
Yeah.
Contentment with what you've got, where you are, and where you're going as well, and acceptance. That's probably key. That's what I've learned over the years, or the number of years I've been doing things, the number of books I've read, the number of podcasts I've listened to, and it's all people far more successful than me. I'm lucky enough to be allowed to sit in the shade of the trees that people planted before me. And that's the benefit you get from knowledge and experience from other people, far more successful than you, me, far more successful than what I've ever done. And that's why continuing to learn and continuous education is a journey. It's not a destination. The same with success. Oh, you're so successful. It's like, well, I know a lot of successful people that are actually really unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think they would be happiest people in the world.
Why do you think that is then?
Sense of purpose.
Yeah.
They've no longer got their purpose. They've achieved what they wanted to achieve in the beginning.
What am I going to do now?
Steve Bartlett talked about it this morning when I was watching something, with Gabor Mate, who Dr. Gabor Mate is a famous psychiatrist, and he talks about gut as well and how important is serotonin for your brain and how everything's led from your gut. It's not actually the brain, and when your brain decides and it leaves out the gut and the heart and the decision, therefore it's usually a not as good a decision to be made when the brain decides. Whereas if you get the three of them to decide together, you usually come up with a better decision. And that's why people say your gut reaction is probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Gut reaction. Your gut reaction is probably right. The sixth sense is probably the most important sense that you've got. And it's your gut reaction to something. This is why people say you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. Because people have decided in 8 seconds they've got your number straight away. There's just have you ever had a person you talk to them or you see them and you think there's something about them, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, well, Elaine, your wife and I were speaking about that the weekend as well. Gut reaction and your first impressions of somebody, and it sticks with you. And if you don't make a good first impression, that person will always have that in their mind about you. But you're true about the sense of you're true what you say about the sense of purpose, Jim. And there's a lot of research that links having a positive mindset and a sense of purpose and things, all linked to better health benefits and things, fewer strokes and heart attacks, and better sleep. And that sense of contentment, like you say. So definitely.
Lower risk of dementia, lower risk of disabilities. It's this isn't just my opinion. This is scientific fact, and yet we ignore it. So why is it that we ignore it? Why is it we ignore this? This thing, this sense of purpose and how important it is to us. And I think it's because most people don't know how to find their way through this. I think it's most people don't have the roadmap to get there, or they don't know where they're going, so they tend to just gravitate to things that will take their attention away from it. And ultimately, that comes down to, let's get pissed at the weekend. Let's just live for the weekend every single week. Let's just work hard all the time, every single week, knock our pan in, and just go for it at the weekend. And then let's start all over again. That is not the healthiest lifestyle you'll ever have. It's probably the worst things you could ever do, is live for the weekend every single time. And if anybody says that to you, run a mile from them.
Yeah.
Run a mile from them. If they say, I just live for the weekend, that's your time to exit on stage door left. Straight away.
Yeah, definitely.
Get them out of your life. Just get them out of your head, because that is one of the most uninfluential people you'll ever have in your life. Say things like that.
It's such a cultural thing in this country, anyway. And
of course it is, because it's herd mentality.
Yeah.
We want you to just be like me. It's like, I've had a look at your life. I certainly don't want that. So I ain't listening to what you're saying. You could go on about it all the time, but I don't want anything like you've got, because you've got a life of ill health. You've got a life of poverty because you're broke at a different level, because you're buying fast cars, fancy houses, you're living for the weekend, you're doing on huge holidays every single year, and you've got credit card bills up to your eyeballs and probably further than that. You've maxed everything out, and you're going to pay for that for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And
that's what's going to make you ill. And you'll never have purpose in life for that reason until you sort that.
Yeah. So, and just to clarify, though, we're not saying that people shouldn't work hard through the week and enjoy their weekends. Just do it differently. I think we're kind of referring to the people.
No, I'm saying really have a miserable life.
No, I think it's more
because that's what most people will think, won't they?
Yeah, I know.
People that come along. There is a few people, and I get comments still about, I don't drink, and I haven't drunk for about 7 years. I don't smoke. I don't take caffeine. I don't touch caffeine at all in any shape or form. And now I don't eat meat or have dairy. I'm vegan, and I have been since 2019. So that's 4 years, and I was 4 years vegetarian before that. and people, and I don't really go out and party all the time like I used to. And everybody goes, God, you must have a boring life. And it's like, I would hate to be like that, but they don't realize the life that I've got and the opportunities available to me and what I actually do and what I get involved in.
And the
And I tell
enjoyment
you
you get
what,
from that.
if I'd known all this before I started, when I was a young lad, I probably would have been completely different now. I would have been way ahead of what I've done now, and I probably would have had my hair still. I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah. And then that's what you're saying, and Jim, people might think that and look from the outside, but then they don't understand all the enjoyment you get for everything that you do in your life now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't involve
running at 6:30 this morning. I did a live, and some people have seen that live. And I tell you what, it was wonderful. Just to hear the sea, have no one about you, and watch the sun rising just across Ely Point, where it was all coming up.
It was crisp this morning as well.
Jeez, it's just like that feeling. And then hear the birds in the background, see the squirrels just getting up in the morning, all these different things you see round about yourself. And you can't buy that feeling.
No.
But you can make it every single time. You just need to know the formula how to do it. And a lot of people just don't understand that. I've developed a habit now of running Monday and Friday. Now, remember, I says I would actually indoctrinate that habit.
Yeah.
My body is, and my mind is actually indoctrinated into that now. So basically, I'm waiting up at 5 o'clock when we're ready to run. And it's like, I now 3 months ago, that wasn't in my mindset.
No.
So I've now built that into my system and built that into my habit and my routines, and it works every single time. So I'm now running on a Friday 5K. Well, I did 4 miles this morning anyway, so it's 8K, and on a Monday, and I'm doing the 5K on a Friday, and then I'm doing a mile in the pool at least. I think I did 2 kilometers last week, so a mile in the pool at least, which is 1,650 meters.
Yeah.
And that's a mile. So I do that every single week. So now I'll keep doing that for another couple of months, and then I'll start to bring in strength training. I'll start to do core.
Then incorporate that into it, yeah.
I'll start to do core. I'll start to build glutes. I'll start to build my quads again, and I'll start to build my upper body again. I'll start to get my core right, and I'll probably get somebody to help me do that because it involves quite a lot of nutritional balance as well. I've started to get rid of some of the processed foods again, because the biggest pandemic as well we've got in our life is processed foods.
Yeah.
Did you know processed foods are linked to poor mental health?
Yeah, they're also quite carcinogenic, I think, as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the additives and things, and you can't. It's really hard to escape it because a lot of stuff, anything that comes in a packet or a box, is more or less processed.
6 companies in the world produce all the processed foods in the world.
Really?
Yeah, 6 companies.
What are they? Do you know what they are?
I don't know them off the top of my head.
Probably
but I think you can get to that.
Probably a big one.
We'll probably talk about it next week, about who these 6 companies are. But 6 companies produce all the processed foods in the world, and they've got no intention of stopping that because they're making huge profits out of it, even though they know it's bad for your health and it causes cancers and it causes long-term chronic mental problems, and it causes poor gut as well, which is linked to obviously the production of serotonin, and serotonin is what is the happy drug. It makes you happy every day when you get out of your bed, and you only get it every day. Once it's depleted, you have to reinvigorate yourself for the next day, and that means the right sleep pattern and all the rest of it comes out of that. So this is all about gut health. The gut drives everything. The gut is probably more important than the brain at this point in time, because the gut is what helps produce the serotonin more than what the brain does. So if you don't have the proper diet and you don't have the proper sleep pattern, you don't produce the serotonin. Therefore, you don't invigorate your brain and the chemicals that you need in order to function properly. And therefore, as a result, chronic depression kicks in. And chronic is a killer, literally.
And some people watching who maybe aren't regulars and things might think, why he's talking about health and things on a wealth creation show? It's like, well, if you're not got a healthy body and a healthy mind, then how are you going to create wealth?
But your wealth. You'll certainly not be lying on your deathbed going, I wish I had more money. You'll be going, I wish I'd looked after my body.
Yeah.
I wish I'd looked after my health. I wish I'd looked after my mind and all the rest of that. If you've not got your mind, you've not got anything. If you've not got your body, you've not got anything either. You'll not be able to do anything. You'll not have any wealth. It'll be gone.
Yeah, definitely is the place to start, and that's with your own self. And I mean, the good news is you don't have to choose between having wealth and living a meaningful life. You just might find that the more purpose you have, you feel you might attract actually, and feel that you do attract more money, and you will earn more money as you are more healthier and have a better sense of purpose in life. And finding purpose as a process.
You attract what you are like.
Yeah.
You attract what you're like. So if you've got people that are quite negative surrounding you and round about you, guess what you are? You're probably like that yourself.
You're going to be a byproduct of what's around you.
Yeah, that's definitely it. I mean, as you said, Richard, finding purpose is a process that requires plenty of self-reflection. Listening to others and finding where your passion lies, that's probably quite important. And the strategies that you want to talk about is what I just said now about.
Just to say with the first one you've already touched on.
It's so important to surround yourself with positive people. That's the most important thing. You are a product of who was it? Albert Einstein. Maybe Einstein that said that, or could have been Freud. He says you're a product of the 5 people around about you right now, your closest friends, the people the 5 people round about you right now. You can sum up what their success is or where they are right now, and you are a product of that, of these 5 people. That's where you'll be right now in your life. And if you don't like that, you better change it. But how do you change it?
Yeah.
What do you do? And this is what it is. Surround yourself with positive people.
Yeah. And it's true, like you say, Jim, and as the saying goes, you are the company that you keep. And what you have in common with these people is who you choose to as who you choose to be around. So I think really you need to think about the people that you choose to spend your time with. And that's maybe not like, I mean, I'm not talking about like that's outside work and maybe outside your family, your immediate family and things, because you can't change them. It's not to say you have to spend all your time with them.
Yeah.
But really think about who you spend a lot of your own time with, and know, like you say, those 5 main people. And are they really the people that you want to influence how you are and who you are? That's something you really need to think about.
I could accurately say, if you're not where you are right now, then probably the answer to that question is the 5 people around about you are not the people that should be around about you. Because that's why you're not where you are right now, for that reason. Now, they might be protecting you for some reason at this point in time. They might be helping you through something that you're going through at this point in time. And fair enough, some people are just there for a temporary time, and then they're gone. And the classic analogy of that is when a rocket takes off to the moon, say the space shuttle, you see when it gets to a certain altitude and then the boosters fall off and then they go back to Earth. And that's kind of like life. About there's certain people that come into your life to help you get to the next stage, and then they fall by the wayside and they go somewhere else. It's like running a company, isn't it? There's certain people that get you to a certain point, and then they go and do something else with someone else, and that's fine. That's exactly what they want to do. But that's all they're there for. And then you need other people to get you to the next level of where you are right now. And that's why most companies are constantly employing, because that's effectively what it is. And that's why people around about you, the 5 people around about you, might not be the 5 people you've got with you, because everybody goes, I'll always remember the people that helped me. Yeah, you can always remember them, but you don't need to hang about with them for the rest of your life, because they're maybe not the people that want to take you on your journey to where you want to go. So you have to leave them behind at some point in time and actually move on. Just like, for example, Harry Styles. Why is he not with One Direction anymore? They were good, but he wants to do his own thing. He wants to go away. He wants to get higher. And the only way he's going to get higher is to have a different team round about him in order to elevate them to that success. Why do you think Alex Ferguson was so good with Man United? Because he was right at that point in time. And then when you see all the rest of it, look at Beckham. Beckham really had to move from Man United. I mean, he loved Man United, but he had to move from Man United in order to elevate himself higher, because Alex Ferguson wanted him just to be a footballer.
Yeah.
But
When he had potential to be so much more.
Yeah, he's been retired for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Beckham. Retired for 10 years. But he's still in the limelight. He would never have got that at Man United. So therefore, he had to move and do all these different things. He had to have a different, surround himself with different positive people in order to elevate him up to that point.
Yeah. Surrounding yourself with people who are making positive choices and are on their own journey of achieving their own self-purpose and things. You could draw for that, and that then elevates your own position, definitely. And then on the flip side, if you're going to surround yourself with people who are negative and drag you down as well as theirself, then that's the direction you're going to go in. So you really need to think about that.
This is why it's important to talk about, new people. I mean, nobody likes it, do they? I mean, I don't like walking into a room with people I don't know. But I tell you what, I've learned to like it.
Because you know
it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, right? But you've got to say uncomfortable is a good thing. If you're uncomfortable, it means you're growing within. Okay, the last thing you want to do is get to a point where it doesn't matter what you know. If you keep looking for, I would say, if you keep looking at the outside to give you meaning and purpose and validation, then you could be easily lost within yourself because you're not actually doing it internally. So this is the time to actually get out there and talk to other people, to get to networking events.
Yes.
Now, this is the reason that we're doing, our network event on the 1st of November at the Laurel Bank.
A week on Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. So a week on Wednesday, invite people to come along, have a chat about property investments, all the rest of it. There's no upsell, there's no cost to it. It's just everybody in a room having a wee chat about it. There's no speakers or anything like that. It's just people networking. And I think that's what, for me, is the best way forward, because then you don't know who you're going to bump into, who will actually be that person that will help you get to that next stage.
Or you could be that person to help them.
You could be that person for someone else.
Yeah, and this is something we spoke about over the last few weeks, Jim, a lot more, and how the importance of networking and taking the time to actually speak to people out with just your normal day-to-day circle. And you have to put yourself in that situation where you're in a crowd of people that you maybe usually wouldn't be with, or you're in a room of people that you wouldn't usually be with. And maybe it's outside your comfort zone. But if you take that time and push yourself to speak to people and mix and network, it's amazing how it opens up the opportunities to you and to them.
This is all about finding purpose, remember. So this is why the standing joke for me used to be, you go to the opening of an envelope for your purpose. And literally, you're absolutely right. I will go to the opening of an envelope if it furthers my purpose on what I'm wanting to do. See that I said it furthers my purpose.
Yeah.
So it's clear you've obviously got to define your purpose. But if you don't have a definition of a purpose yet in life and what you want to do, then the key here is to get around other people and start conversations with them, because they'll help you find your purpose in life. And then you'll get reinvigorated overall and think, yep, that's what I quite fancy doing. I mean, at school, how did I know I was going to be an accountant in high school? I was a dropout in accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked to leave school. So how would I know I was going to go on? And how was I ever going to know I was going to be a real estate agent? And never mind the fact that we're now the number one real estate agent in Scotland for the 4th year running.
I was going to say it's placed nicely behind you there. Yeah.
Right there. That one, the Esthers, the Oscars of the estate agency world. But how did I ever know? I would never know that at school. But the only reason I knew that is because I got around other people.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have been on this journey if it wasn't for Gordon Jackson, for example.
Yeah.
Now, not the upstairs, downstairs Gordon Jackson, for anybody that's a bit older.
Your old partner.
Gordon Jackson, a business partner I had, and he was a real estate agent as well, way before me. And he was at the pinnacle of his success. He was the number one in Scotland for his network of agents at the time. And he then says, I'm going to be doing this. And I went, that sounds good to me. I had no sense of purpose once I left my job. And that's where it went all south for me, because I was able to retire financially free at 38-year-old, but I had nowhere else to go after that. I had climbed Everest, and it was like, wait a minute, I've got to the top of Everest. What do I do now? Where do you go when you've been to the top of Everest? There's no other mountain high enough to climb.
And I've got in my notes for last week, Jim, and talking about sense of purpose, and just as you talk about your own, and as you got to that stage in your life, where, do you know what I mean? You had been successful, you were retired, and then you were like, what do I do now? And then that's when you obviously at a stage and saying things, but community is a big thing for you as well, and that's a big part of your sense of purpose and what you do on a daily basis, and that's been part of the community and giving back, and that element of giving back from your success is really a big sense of your purpose.
So I enjoy what I do, but that's just what I said before about the fact that it doesn't matter what I know if I keep looking to the outside to give me validation and meaning. Then I could lose myself. And I don't know if anybody else has ever had that feeling where it's like they've got. I think people when they retire from their job probably go through that crisis as well, and I will call it a crisis, and it's a crisis of identity. About wait a minute, I've been working in a job for the last 40 years since I've left school, and now all of a sudden I've stopped, and it's like, what's my purpose
what do I do now? Yeah,
this is why a lot of people have grandchildren. And they want grandchildren because they want a sense of purpose, and this gives them a sense of purpose. This is why Peterson talks about all the time. You may not, I don't know if you agree or disagree with Jordan Peterson, what he said and all the rest of it, but he deep down, I think he's absolutely right when he says, you know, for people that don't want to have kids, they're going to get to about 40 or 50-year-old and realize what a lonely world they're actually living in, because for it's human nature. You can argue it against however you want, but it's actually human nature for us to procreate, and actually that's ultimately the goal of every species, to keep it going. It's hardwired in our DNA. That's
what drove our conversation on Saturday. Yeah,
because we talked about this. This is why I've got 9 cats. This is why you've got a dog. This is why Kevin's got a cat.
Yeah,
it's like it's the surrogate. The 9 cats are my grandchildren. and that's effectively what it is. People get themselves a pet because it's to try and replace something, because it's that deep down inherent within us. That need to have purpose in life, and that need to have something to look forward to,
something that relies on you as well. That gives you the
and give that sense of fulfillment. You know, that's the sort of thing. Hence the reason why I go saving cats around the world more than likely. And that's kind of what drives you forward. So you know, where do we take it from there? I mean, it's all about we talked about surrounding yourself with positive people. We talked about starting new conversations with people, discovering new activities to explore. Hence the reason why I got into triathlon and running and swimming and cycling and all the rest of it, because it's all different groups of people. But probably one of the most important things is start listening to feedback. If people are telling you certain things, you probably need to listen to them. If everybody keeps telling you the same thing.
Yeah, I think feedback and listening to feedback and taking it the correct way, I think as well. Sometimes feedback for people might not be what you want to hear. It might not always be a positive, like, oh, you're great, you're doing this brilliant, you're doing this right. Because a lot of the time, if you're learning and you're on a journey, you maybe aren't doing it right, and you maybe need to look at how you're doing things or how you think about things. You do this to me all the time, Jim. But I appreciate it because it makes me think, and I think, oh, right, okay, I'm seeing things that way, or I'm thinking about things that way, and
this is why people get in a circle, and sometimes, and they call it an intervention. Where they sit with somebody in the middle, it really needs help, but they don't realise they actually really need the help, and their family or circle of friends actually sit round about them, and it's called an intervention. They actually need to give them this feedback in order to help them, because they've got their best interests at heart. Whereas the person sitting in that chair sometimes just won't acknowledge that. So if you are that person, you probably need to take that on board, I would say. Listen to the feedback. It's clear. I mean, you know, I did an intervention on myself, more than likely. You know, I'm very analytical and self-critical and self-aware because of all the books I've read and all the podcasts I've listened to and other people's life experiences. I then see similarities in that and think, yep, okay, that's probably what's happened to me, and that's probably where I'm going. So I need to adjust. I need to correct that. I need to get back on the right path. As far as the right path for me is concerned in my journey, in terms of where I'm going.
And not do the shiny penny thing.
Yeah, not do the shiny penny. It's like, shiny penny is like, oh, there's an opportunity. I'm going to run and do that and spend all my time doing that. When in actual fact, I should be doing that right in front of me. Right in front of me. What's right in front of you rather than actually what's actually at the side of you. That's because then that just delays it. That just delays everything when people get off the track. I talked about this morning again in a brief live I did when I was out running, and I talked about how important it was to actually stay on track and actually not get distracted. And probably play the hand you've been dealt. So play the hand you've been dealt, and stop complaining about the hand that you've been dealt. Just you've been dealt that hand in life. You've just got to get on with it. That's really what it is. Somebody said there, Jerry actually said there, comparison is the thief of joy, and that's it. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop
comparing to other people.
Why have I not got that? Why have I not got this? And that's the complaining that you do. So complaining all the time. If you find yourself complaining about everything all the time, then you've probably got to change track. You've probably got to change your thinking. You've got stinking thinking. You need a checkup from the neck up. That's really ultimately what it is. And that's what you need to sort out. So accept the things you can't change. Change the things you can't change, but have the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, definitely. That's quite a good thing. If you could actually identify the difference between things that you can't change and things that you can. But when we talk about listening to feedback, and I did jump right in there about a lot of people look at it negatively and think about negative feedback. But in terms of finding your sense of purpose, listening to someone's feedback can be really beneficial to you. Because I know a lot of us on a daily basis will have a lot of different things that we'll do, and we'll probably love doing them, and they're totally ingrained in what we do on a daily basis. And we might not even realize how important they actually are because we're just not used to doing them. And it might take an outsider to turn around and say, God, you're really good at that. Or like, is this what you do all the time? And then the penny might drop because somebody's actually brought it to your attention. God, I do that all the time and I am good at it. And there's maybe your sense of purpose or an opportunity for you to capitalize on something that you're really good at and actually enjoy doing as well.
Absolutely. I would say that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's capitalizing on what you enjoy doing. And reinforcing your passions, and that's what will give you joy. We talk about all the time about find what you love, lean into what you're really good at. Nobody wants a grade D physician. Nobody wants a physician that just passed their exams and whatever it is they're doing. Nobody wants that. But if you're a really good musician at the same time as being a physician, then probably lean into being a musician because you're probably outstanding at it. And it's the people that are outstanding in their profession and whatever they do in life are the ones that are rewarded the most richly.
Yeah.
So lean into what you're really good at. If you're a fantastic actor, and you do loads and loads of plays and all the rest of it, and you're great at standing, you're great at doing speeches and everything like that. Maybe lean into public speaking, join the Public Speakers Academy or something like that. There's loads of free groups and start doing public speaking and you'll probably get gigs where you're invited to talk about subjects and you'll start to get paid for it. And then eventually you'll hone and develop your skill and you'll get better and better at it and people will pay you more for it. And therefore you'll get to a point where it's like, well, I actually don't need my job anymore. The thing that I just got by with, the thing that I did for a living, I can now make a lifestyle out of what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, sorry, you go.
The object of life is to your day-to-day job pays for your living, but what you do outside of that pays for your lifestyle.
Yeah, and I fully believe that everybody, no matter how small a thing it is, I think everybody's got a natural ability to be really good at something. Just because I think although we're all the same, we're all quite different in our own way as well. And I think some people excel at things more than others. And that's a good thing, because if we were all exactly the same and good in the same areas, then it wouldn't be a diverse world.
We'll never be exactly the same. I can guarantee you everybody out there watching or listening to this just now, someday, at least 1,000 people in this whole world will pay you a lot of money for what you know right now.
Yeah.
1,000 people in this world. Remember, there's 8 billion.
You just need to find it.
Do you think you could find 1,000 people that will want to know what you know, or what your journey is, or what you know right now? And the answer to that is absolutely. And will they pay you a lot of money for knowing what you know and taking them on that journey? Yes, they will, because they want you to teach them to where you got to. So that's why you lean into what you're really good at, and there'll be people out there that you'll be able to teach as a result. But you've got to go out and find them. This is what this is all about.
Yeah.
This is all about, Wealth Creation Show is all about this as well. These people will be attracted towards us as a result of that. Primarily, it's obviously to leave a legacy for my grandchildren and all the rest of it. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And I will be immortalized in video. There you go. There's my sense of purpose.
Yeah.
I do not want to be forgotten when I go.
Yeah,
So
because
this
we
is
spoke about that, and it's like in
my
100
sense
years'
of
time,
purpose.
who's that? Yeah, who's actually going to remember you in 100 years' time when you're
Everybody, because
Yeah.
this will still be here. This will still be on YouTube. This will still be in history. We still have recordings of this right now, and generations of my next family can listen to this on all these different subjects, which I think is vitally important for younger people to learn right now, so they don't need to go through all the turmoil and the heartache that we've all gone through beforehand. You could just skip all that and start a bit further on. That's what it's all about.
Do you know?
Why does anybody, I'm going to get in a
No,
wee bit of high horse
yeah, you're
rant
fine.
here. Why does anybody need to start where you started, but just because you started there? It was good enough for you. Ever heard that? It was good enough for me. Like,
Yeah.
why is it no good enough for you? Well, because I want to start a wee bit further than you to get a wee bit further later on. I mean, the reality is, if you are where you are right now, you should be allowing your children to stand on the shoulders of giants. Not to start where you started, but
The
to start
predecessor.
where you are right now, and to start from where you are. That's where you want them to start from. You want to let them stand on your shoulders to elevate them higher. You don't want them you have to go through the hard knocks in life. No, they don't. No, they
No,
don't.
you've
They
already
don't need
done
to be
that for
thrown
them.
out of school. They don't need to be abused by someone. They don't need to go through smoking. They don't need to go through alcohol addiction. They don't need to go through gambling addiction. They don't need to go through all these different things. No, you don't need to go through all this pain. You just learn the lesson by wisdom rather than experience, because that's what it's all about. So learn from someone else's mistakes and avoid doing that.
Yeah.
That's the key to life.
And you sharing your experience and knowledge on a platform like this, Jim. And funnily enough, I actually heard this morning that history records in time to come will all include YouTube videos, social media posts, or comments. Do you know, because that is what society is now, and that's where a lot of it will be recorded. So history records will be shows like this and things like this.
I don't
To
want
look
anybody.
back.
I don't. Ultimately, I like reading, but I don't really. Most people don't want to read anymore. They just want to listen to a podcast, or they just want to
Yeah.
watch a video. They don't want to do anything like that. They don't want to. They want to watch it, and they want to have it available for them when they need it, not have to physically sit down and read it. So, and as life becomes more complicated and more busier, in terms of what we're doing, that's another story, isn't it? Maybe we should talk about that next week. How to slow down, but ultimately speed up.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a subject for next week.
Slow down to speed up.
How to slow down in life, but how to speed up at the same time. Slowing down actually speeds you up.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Slowing down, and I'll say it again to everybody here, slowing down actually allows you to speed up in life to get there quicker. How do you do that? Tune in next week and I'll tell you.
Yeah, yeah, that's something. It's something you've said to me over the years. And once you realise, when everybody's in such a hurry to get places and do things, and then it all goes. I was going to say tits up there, but anyway, do you know what I mean? And it's like
You
if
said
you
it, they
just
all
take
go tits up.
if you just take the if you just take the time to do things properly and methodically in the first place, it just pays dividends and gets you there a lot faster.
I could just see my great grandchildren going, God, did my great granddad swear that much?
Yeah, but anyway, but yeah, and I think and people watching might think what we've said about everybody having their own skills and things that they may be special like excel in, and people might be wondering, well, what is that? And really, it is about listening to people and their feedback. And if somebody compliments you or says you're good at that, or you really take note of that, and hopefully if people are watching, they will then pick up on it when maybe people pay you a compliment and you don't really think much about it. Listen to people and listen to what they say to you and think, oh, maybe that's what mine is then. And if you're really good at it, then capitalize on that.
Yeah, a lot of people as well, myself included, I've got out this habit now. Actually, when somebody pays them a compliment, they actually brush it off. Whereas now I've learned to just say, well, you're welcome.
Yeah, embrace it.
You know, that's it. That's it. Thanks for that, or you're welcome. That's it. I don't go make excuses for, oh, I'm just, it's just this and it's just that. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's like I don't put myself down anymore. And a lot of people out there do that. They've done something outstanding, special. They don't see it as outstanding, special, but people actually feed that back to them, and they put themselves down. And I'm like, why don't you just say you're welcome, and actually just accept it as for what it is? But we are a nation of people who just keep putting ourselves down. But that society has done that to us. That's a product of our environment.
Yeah.
So, as I said before, this is all about leading into your interest, leading into what you want to do. So, conversations you enjoy holding with people the most and meeting face to face. That's probably what you should be leaning into. Do you like talking about history? Start a history blog.
Yeah.
I love talking about history when it comes to things like the East Neuk and, Cooper and Leven and St Andrews and all these different places throughout Fife. I love finding out all the history. I love tuning into Leonard Lowe now and again. It talks about the Weems witches and stuff and the odd stories in Scotland's histories, and like horrible histories almost.
Yeah.
And in his books that he does, but it's fascinating. And other people like these sort of stories as well. So it's good to actually talk about them and say them to everybody else, and because it gives people enjoyment.
Yeah, it's true when you think about it. Like we say things like history, things like I remember if people are younger and remember what they done at school, and you've noticed what you excel in more than others. Like something that I went on to study at a higher level was biology because it totally interested me, and I didn't feel like it was a chore to think about it, and it really interested me and picked it up easily.
So what the hell happened? Why are you saying
ended up in property? I went away and studied. I did study biology and things as well, but I don't know. I was still young.
So why did you not lean into biology?
I know, and you know, and my nephew's the same. He's brilliant. He's history. We done a trivia thing when we were on holiday, and his history knowledge is amazing. And he's going away to uni to study it.
Yeah, it's whereas people say to me, it's like, so what are you doing your degree in archaeology? It's like, is that a real subject?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a real subject? But then I think about it, it's like, wow, it must be amazing because this person, I can't remember who it was, but said it's like, so what are you going to do? I'm going to go over to Africa and I'm going to be an archaeologist with a certain organization. And I thought, that is living the dream for somebody that loves archaeology. I've got to say that's got to be living the dream, isn't it?
I always like paleontology, which is dinosaurs and things. That always interested me, but I didn't pursue it.
But these are all the things. These are all things that if you sort yourself out now and you get yourself on track, you could enjoy all these things later on in life. It's like let's get our wealth sorted out, let's get our financial freedom sorted out, and then I can pick and choose what I want to do later on. That was my whole point. It's like I became temporarily ambitious to be permanently lazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So that's what it came down to. Get as much wealth and build as much wealth right now to get to yourself to the point of financial freedom, so you never need to rely on anybody else for your income ever again, and your ability to perform as well. So in other words, you could end up with the worst accident ever and be basically housebound for the rest of your life, but you'd still earn money as a result. And you'd still be able to push up some of your fashions because you've got enough wealth to do that. That is what gave me ultimate freedom. And then you can pick and choose what you want to do. So I choose. Somebody actually questioned me the other week when I was sitting. I went, well, I retired at 38, which was about 18 years ago, and says, well, why are you sitting here then? I went, honestly. And I just went, because I love what I do. I get up every day and I think, God, I've got the best job in the world. It's like I get to take someone from A to B. A in their life is where they are right now, where they've got turmoil and they're not really sure what they want to do and what direction they want to take. Because I'm a bit more deeper than that when I go to sell somebody's house. It's not just a case of I'm selling your house. I want to know why you're selling your house. Because there's another problem to solve there, or there's another challenge to solve there about why you're moving. For some people, and often when I get to the conversation, the end of the conversation, I say, "This isn't going to solve the issue. You're probably selling your house isn't going to solve this, and this is the reason why." And I let them decide what they want to do. And I sometimes actually talk them out of selling their house because it's not the necessary thing for them to do. And they thank me later on because they know it wasn't the right decision and I didn't take advantage of it. That's what I love about what I do. But because I'm not controlled by the money, it's nothing to do with the money. The money is a byproduct of what I do well. Probably hence the reason why we've got the #1 estate agent in Scotland. Again, for
definitely,
the
yeah. But Jim, you're a real systems person and working out and a problem solver, and to sit down with somebody and discover why they're at this point that they're at, and then help them find the best answer to get to where they need to go, and whether that's selling their house or not. And that's really that's something that you love to do. And I think discovering what you love to do and making it part of what you do every day is just, I mean, you can't really put a price on that.
No, you can't. You can't. It's that feeling you get. But this is what you've got to be careful about. If you continually seek validation from people outside of you within, then you've got a real crisis on your hands later on, because at some point this will disappear, this validation process. So you have to be settled within. You have to have your inner worth actually established. So when this all disappears, you know where you are. This is why footballers just go off the track. This is why boxers go off the track. Mike Tyson. This is why he went, started fighting everybody. This is why people go off the track, because their validation is completed by people outside of them. It's not within. So you have to make sure you validate yourself within to do that. So discover what you love to do, and that's what you keep within your core. So just think about what you truly love to do, and then see if you can work something out. There's people out there doing podcasts all the time. They're getting nothing out of it. I mean, we don't expect anything out of this at all. The reality is, because I just love doing this, and
it's become quite a good thing for us to do every week.
Well, this is kind of like a mentoring session, isn't it?
I've learned
mentoring at the same time as everybody else gets the benefit of that as well. And everybody else that watches us later on in years and years to come and listens to the podcast later on get that benefit as well. This is timeless content. This isn't stuff that disappears. This has been since the human species evolved on this planet. This is all the same, and this content will never ever change.
Yeah. It's a good thing to refer back to as well. Like, we were talking about that week, and you could just go back and listen to it if you want. But consider what type of skills and talents and passions that you have and you could bring to the table, and brainstorm them and how you could turn them into a passion. Your passion into something meaningful.
This is why it's important to make peace within yourself and your past, because there's no future in it. You have to make peace with your past and within yourself.
Dwell on the past and things,
or there'll be no future. You'll just keep carrying it with you. This is why you get, it's like, what? Will Smith's with a psychiatrist. Jaden, his wife gets a psychiatrist as well. Dr. Gabor, mate. I mean, he's got his own psychiatrist, and he's a psychiatrist. It's like, what is that all about? You could say that, and you could just dismiss that and say, this is nuts. But it's not, because everybody at some point in their life needs to talk it through and needs to understand himself and needs to be happy or content within. Really, that's what it is. So here's the golden question: how do you know when you found your purpose?
I was just going to say, we'll finish up, and people will be thinking, but how will I ever know if I found my sense of purpose, or you know, in life, and how would I know that? And there is a lot of, like, the notion of finding the purpose itself. There's a lot of different answers that and signs that someone has maybe found their sense of purpose. So what are they, Jim?
Content. You're content with what you're doing there and then.
Contentment's right up there.
Yeah, contentment is definitely there. You feel connection in what you're doing as well. You're connected to it. You don't feel like it's a burden or a chore or something oh God, I've got to do this. It's like, no, you love to do it. You love what you do. And you do what you love. And that is it. You also connect with others. See, I'm talking about connection, how important it is. It's connection. Connection is the pandemic and the problem that we've got right now. Human connection. We don't connect with other people. We spend all our life on phones, on everything else. I saw it all throughout the weekend that we were away with other people as well. Everybody sat on their phones.
We were in London and everybody just sits like this.
Yeah, everybody sits on their phones and communicates with other people outside of the people that are with them right now. They've got no connection. And this is why it's so important to sometimes just put that phone away. Don't put it on the table. The worst thing you could ever do is when you're with somebody at a restaurant or you're out with them or you're networking and you're wanting their full attention, do not sit your mobile on the table, because that tells people inadvertently straight away that you're not interested in what they've got to say in case because someone else is going to interrupt it. This is like when people go answer the phone. It's like, oh, wait there now. When you're in a conversation and people go, wait there now, your conversation isn't that important. That's what's getting said. Your conversation isn't really that important because I'm about to answer the phone from a conversation from somebody I don't even know who that is. And then you end up even worse. You find out it was a cold caller. All right, okay. So the cold caller is more important than what I am. It's, for want of a better word, rude. You know, that's it. Oh, I've got to take this call. Yeah, I've got to take the call, and you know what it's for, and you have to take the call, then fair enough. But just because the phone's ringing doesn't mean to say you've got to answer it. Just press that red button or send a text in the middle of something. I've got automatic text on my phone. I send people a text in the middle of something right now. I'll phone you back when I get a chance. Just to tell somebody. So they don't feel upset, but the person I'm speaking to doesn't feel upset either. And the fact that inadvertently I've just said they're not important anymore.
Yeah, those auto responses on phones are great.
Connection is probably the most important thing, and that's what we've come back to, full circle, about sense of purpose. It's really all about having connection with other people, and the feeling might arise from activities that benefit others, such as, this is why people go and volunteer, this is why people donate, this is why people do charity work. They want connection. I used to go to a game on Sunday nights, or was it Wednesday nights, Monday nights? It was Dungeons and Dragons. Now, this dungeon, if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons,
I've not played it.
A marathon event. This is 4 or 5 hours worth, and you're not even started then. It's like we used to go there all the time, and then somebody said one day, it's like, why do you come all the way about 15 miles to come to this and play Dungeons and Dragons? And I went, oh, I just love the social atmosphere and being with other people. And they laughed.
Really?
They laughed. I remember them laughing at that time. Needless to say, they're not getting on well in life. But they didn't get it. They actually selfishly thought that Dungeons and Dragons was all about just them having fun. But what they didn't realize,
I always thought that it was about people getting together and like how you think about it,
Of course it is. Brainstorming, coming up with ideas. This is why people do cosplay and they all meet each other and they have their cosplay community. This is why people do property investors clubs and all the rest of it. People love to connect with other people with similar interests.
And what was it when I was younger? Warhammer. Is Warhammer still around? And people used to meet up.
Definitely is. Ben plays it all.
Does he? Right, okay.
He's big time in that and all the rest of it. So, but it's elevated itself onto online now as well. But connection with other people is important, and this is why community connection. So you could say Oh, you're on that quite a lot. But a lot of these online games, it's like you've got cameras on each other. So you're all connected to each other around the world, and you're all watching each other, and you're all talking to each other online while you're actually playing the game. So it's like you're in the room with each other. And this is why these sort of games and events actually attract huge audiences. I mean, why do people turn up to events where, you've got 20,000 people turn up to events to watch people play a game? What's all that about? It's connection. Because we've all got similar interests, and they all love what they do, and they all love what each other does. Because we all have excitement in that area. Why people go to property investor shops, why people go to, all different things, why negative people gravitate to negative people. Even though it's negative and it's bad for you, they want connection.
Yeah, it's like-minded individuals.
Honestly, people will connect with other people even though it's bad for them. That's why there's nothing more sacred than a men's drinking club. Billy Connolly and Michael Parkinson used to talk about all the time. They had to leave each other's company and stop socializing with each other because they had a connection with each other, including, I think it was Jerry Rafferty in that, where they all went out on their mass sessions, like days.
Driven by a negative.
Yeah. And they said, we're going to have to stop this. But see, the connection drove the negativity around it. But they weren't bothered that it was bad for them. They just craved connection. Ultimately, you've likely found your purpose if you've stopped asking. If you've stopped asking whether you have got your purpose.
Yeah, I think. Well, obviously, I think if you're asking
my purpose, I've never actually asked that anymore. I've never asked that. It's just like
you've obviously reached that point.
I think I found my purpose, but it doesn't mean to say that there won't be another purpose that will appear in the future. But that also comes down to things like faith. So this is key, and this is fundamental. And I wrote a couple of notes on this about this. Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head. And when the door opens in real life, for example, just walk through it. Oh, and by the way, why not take a chance on faith as well? That's it.
Yeah. That was a good way to end it then, Jim. And that was quite a good topic. And like you say, we could talk about that all day. We've again branched out into slowing down to speed up, and we also talked about the benefits, health benefits of processed food. And there's a lot of different things that could branch off in one conversation. So join us next week, 12:30 Monday, and we will continue with our discussions as part of the Wealth Creation Show. Remember, guys, it's always live. Keep it interactive, and we'll be back next week, 12:30.
Perfect. Bye-bye for now.
And that's us, Jim. Thanks.